Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sari and you are watching my knitting podcast videos, and it's that time of the year again, so we are starting our Christmas countdowns. So I've been doing this little kind of like advent calendar countdown for the past maybe 4 years. I want to say 4 years. This could already be the fifth. I don't remember when I started doing this, but I've been counting down the days in December until Christmas Eve, and featuring one pattern per day, and that the pattern of the day is always discounted minus 24%, both on Ravelry as well as on Shopify, and the discount is always valid until the end of the next day. So that is Finland time, because I'm based in Helsinki. So it's always a bit more than 24 hours. So I will try to post a new pattern around noon, and then it's that day as well as the following day. So until the end of the next day, Finnish time. And after that, the discount code is gone. And last year I also started doing these little daily videos to show the design of the day and talk a bit about the backstory of the design, as well as show different variants of it. So you will get to see what the design looks like when I'm wearing it, and also hear me talk a bit more about the inspiration and the design process and whatever I come up about that specific pattern. So we are starting today, and today's pattern for December 1st is the Vivi Pullover, as well as the matching Vivi Cardigan that I have here, and I will post all the links to the patterns both on Ravelry as well as on Shopify below this video, as well as the discount code, so you can easily find your way to the pattern. So this is the Vivi Pullover, and I released the Vivi Pullover pattern, I think it was in January. I was knitting this around this time of the year, a year ago. I went to Sacred Sheep in mid-November, or beginning of November. I think it was last year at the beginning of November, and I remember I was knitting the Vivi Pullover. During that trip I was actually stranded in Dallas for more than 9 hours due to hurricane warning. The hurricane never came, but all the flights were cancelled or delayed, so I was sitting at the Dallas airport for more than 9 hours, and I was knitting this sweater. So I think I finished the whole front until the armholes as well as the neckband during that delay. And then I continued working on it after that, and like I said, I released the pattern in January, and because I loved it so much, I cast it on the matching cardigan immediately. So this is the Vivi cardigan. So it's exactly the same, except it doesn't have this big gable here at the front. Instead it has two smaller ones as well as the button band, and I absolutely love the buttons that I chose for this one. They are slightly over the top, but I think they look really nice with this this cardigan. And the yarn for this cardigan I used, actually for both of these, I used Knitting for Olives Merino as well as the silk mohair from them. This is the blood orange colorway, and I had it in my stash for maybe 2 years before I finally cast it on the cardigan. So I fell in love with the colorway when it came out, and I bought it immediately. But it's a bit brighter than I usually use, and even though I loved the color, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, and then I came up with the Vivi cardigan idea, and I knew immediately that this color is the perfect match for this design. And I've been wearing both of these a lot, especially the sweater has been in heavy rotation for me. The Vivi cardigan and pullover, they actually started even earlier, like 2.5 years ago maybe. I did a pattern called Vivien. It was a t-shirt that I made, and then I turned it into a pullover later on, so it was called a Vivien pullover, and it has the same kind of like the same cables as this one, but it has like a small honeycomb pattern in the middle, and it also has moss stitch on the sides. So this one has kind of like just basic pearl stitches along the cables to keep the pattern like really simple, but otherwise the cable pattern is exactly the same as for the Vivien pullover. And after I made the Vivien tee and the Vivien pullover, I turned it into a Vivien beanie, and that only had kind of like this pattern, and it didn't have the honeycomb pattern at all. And I was making another Vivien beanie a year ago in the fall. I wanted to have a second Vivien beanie because I really loved it. And when I was knitting it, somebody commented that they would really like to have that cable pattern as a sweater. And after I saw the comment, that was kind of like everything I could see. So here is the Vivi pullover. So it's the same as the Vivien, except it doesn't have the honeycomb in the middle. Also, the Vivien is sport weight, and this is kind of like DK, or you can use fingering weight, as well as mohair or suri, or like a lace weight, alpaca, or whatever you want, or just a DK weight yarn for this one. So it's slightly heavier than the Vivien pullover. And I also have my sample knitter made me another Vivi pullover, so it's an off-white version, and this is also knitting for Olive, but it's with the pure silk as well as the soft silk mohair, and both of them are in the undyed colorway. So here it is how it looks like in off-white, and absolutely beautiful like that as well. So I love how different cable pattern looks like when you just change the color. So this is kind of like a very classic minimalistic piece even, and this is almost like a statement piece, even though the cables are exactly the same. Maybe if you look at the back, you will notice better, because on the back the cardigan has the big cable, so the backs are pretty much the same, but they look very different. The feel of the knits is very different, just depending on what color you use. So that's kind of like a little backstory for the Vivi pullover as well as the Vivi cardigan, and you can get both of the patterns with a -24% discount with the code Vivie until tomorrow, end of the day, Helsinki time. So all the links are below this video. And for this video I also wanted to show you a new design that I put out yesterday. So this was also kind of like an advent calendar pattern, even though it's not part of my countdown. So there's a Finnish dyer called Säie Wool, and they reached out to me earlier this year, and they asked if I wanted to design a sock pattern for their advent calendar. So they dyed 4 different skeins of yarn, and you get to open one kind of like little present every advent. And yesterday was the first advent, so that's when people got to open the first skein, and also they got my new sock design. So these are called the Sunday Stroll socks, and the advent calendar, the theme of the advent calendar was called A Town Like This, and it was based on Säie Wool comes from a little town quite close to Helsinki. It's called Porvoo. It's a UNESCO heritage site, so it's a very pretty town with a lot of old wooden houses, and it's like a postcard, picturesque, really pretty town. So I wanted to kind of like have the feeling of having a quiet stroll around the town on a lazy Sunday, and I wanted to create something that you can actually wear while you're walking, so they don't have anything like really big bubbles or anything, so they are really good for boots. And this little kind of like seed stitch pattern here reminds me of like small alleyways, cobblestones, and the cables. I wanted to create kind of like old houses, like wooden houses with wood cutting around the windows. So there's like cable going on the front of the sock, and then it's flanked by the seed stitch pattern. So this is Säie Wool's merino sock yarn, so it's fingering weight yarn, and the colorway is called Fog, Mr. Fog. So this was not a part of the Christmas box, because there are like two different boxes. You can either choose tonals or speckled or variegated yarns. So we wanted to have a yarn that kind of like doesn't belong to any of the boxes, so that people just see how the sock pattern looks like, and then you can choose any of the yarns from your box to knit your own. So this is kind of like a core color for Säie Wool. So if you want to copy my exact socks, the yarn, the colorway is available, so it's not part of the advent calendar. So, and it's not a mystery colorway for the box either. But yeah, this pattern is now available both on Ravelry as well as on Shopify. I will link that also below the video. And we started a little knit along, so if you want to join us and knit your own pair of Sunday Stroll socks, you can join on Instagram and share your photos with a Sunday Stroll Cal hashtag. And Säie Wool has kindly promised 3 prizes for people who have shared their progress photos, so you don't have to finish your photos by the end of this projects by the end of December. It can be just like a project photo, that's okay as well. And Säie Wool has promised 3 prizes. So the first prize is a €50 gift card to their webshop, and the second and third prize, both of them, are €30 gift cards for the Säie Wool webshop, so you can get whatever you want from there. And I will be picking the winners, I think on the, maybe not on the 1st of January, but maybe January 2nd, and you have time to share your Sunday Stroll sock pattern photos until then on Instagram. But that's everything I had for the first little countdown video, and check back tomorrow. We have the next pattern reveal tomorrow, and I can't wait to show you what it is. It's one of my favorites.